Good morning, my dear students of the second secondary this year. Mr. Hussam Abdulaziz with you, inshallah, your English teacher this year for AL and OL. So, I hope you are all fine, of course, in these hard conditions of teaching and learning. But before we start, I want you to be careful or be aware about something important, that this is blended learning. Of course, this year we will insert or involve technology in our teaching and also in our learning. So, I want you, when you follow any session, to be ready with, of course, a pen or a pencil and a copybook, and also to write any notes that we present. Okay? So, if you receive the book or the sheets of the course book, also I want you to follow the session, the PowerPoint I mean, and also the sheets with you. Okay? So, thank you. Let's start today, inshallah, with the Great Expectations. So, this is the novel of this year, inshallah, in AL. Great Expectations for Charles Dickens. Let's start. So, of course, you know Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens, of course, wrote a lot of novels, famous novels, and I think that you had learned it before in the past years, something like David Copperfield, something like A Tale of Two Cities. Maybe some students also studied Oliver Twist and so on. Okay, so this year we have Great Expectations, one of the most famous novels for Charles Dickens. Let's start. First, what about Charles Dickens? Just to remind you, okay? So Charles Dickens was a British novelist, so he had a lot of positions before. So novelist, this is number one. So number two, journalist, okay? So writing for newspapers. Editor also, illustrator, and a social commentator. Social commentator, also he commented on some news, okay, for Parliament and so on, for the newspapers also, okay? So it means that this is in the field of politics. Also, he wrote such beloved classic novels as Oliver Twist, as we said before, A Christmas Carol, David Copperfield, A Tale of Two Cities, and our third novel, this is Great Expectations. So, Dickens is remembered as one of the most important and influential writers of the 19th century, okay? So, among his accomplishments, his achievements, his works, he has been lauded for providing a stark portrait. What does it mean, a stark portrait? This is obvious, clear portrait, image for what? Of the Victorian era. Era here means age, okay? So, and helping to bring about social change. So social change here, it means that what happened to the classes of the society. Of course, you know the classes of the society. We have high class, and we have middle class, and we have the low class. So Charles Dickens was a very superior one, a very superior writer to make an image for what? For the classes of the society. Okay? So, after that, what about the themes of the novel? The themes, I mean here the subjects of the novels. Okay? So, number one, we have something called ambition and self-improvement. So, our hero, or superhero, okay, of the novel is Pip, okay? So this is a very important character, of course. So Pip was a child, okay, who had a lot of dreams about being a gentleman, okay? So he was living in a village, a small village, with his sister and with his brother-in-law, okay? But on his way, he found a good chance to be a gentleman. So he didn't miss this chance. And he insisted on what? On leaving to England and start his new life. Okay? But did he achieve really his dreams or achievements that he dreamed before? I don't think so. Okay. So ambition and self-improvement. So this is the first what? The first subject or theme. The moral theme of Great Expectation is quite simple. Affection. Affection means what? Your feelings, okay? Feelings, emotion to others, okay? We have loyalty, okay? To be faithful, of course. And conscience are more important than social advancement. So in this novel, we will realize that to be a gentleman, okay, to be a rich man, is not, of course, a shameful dream. But if this dream is achieved upon, okay, so your social, okay, relationships with others, okay, and also upon your emotions, your feelings, to feel that others love you, of course, it will be a bad dream, not a good dream. Okay? So, here we have that loyalty and affection, as we said, are more important than social advancement. Advancement here, what? To be better than before. Okay? So, wealth, also money, okay, and class. And class here means what? The high class or low class or middle class. So, Dickens establishes the theme and shows Pip learning this lesson largely by exploring ideas of ambitions. Ambition means what? To be good, to be better, okay? So, to be a rich man, to be a lovely man, for example, to move to another city, okay? To move to a more advanced house. So, this is what? This is ambitions. Okay, so, and self-improvement. You want to improve your life. So, ideas that quickly become both the thematic center of the novel. So, this is thematic center here means that the most important themes. And also the psychological mechanism that encourages much of Pip's development. So, after a longer trials, or after many trials to be a gentleman, okay, and you started to be really a gentleman, you realize that all these achievements were fake, okay? So, and you have to what? To review your life again. So, after that we have social class. So, throughout Great Expectations, Dickens explores the class system of Victorian England. So, ranging from the most wretched criminals. So, in the novel, we have many sorts of people. From high class, middle class, and lower class. So, we have here, for example, Magwitch. Magwitch, okay, so this is the poor peasant, okay, of the marsh country. We have also Joe and Biddy. Joe and Biddy, this is the lower class. And we have Mr. Pumblechook. So this is a representation for the middle class. To the very rich, the high class, represented by Miss Havisham. So the theme of social class is central to the novel's plot and to the ultimate moral theme of the book. Okay? So ranging from high class to middle class to lower class and return again. So this is the thematic center of the novel. After that, we have crime, guilt, and innocence. What does it mean, innocence? So this is the opposite of guilt. So the theme of crime, guilt, and innocence is explored throughout the novel, largely through the characters of the convicts and the criminal lawyer judges. So what does it mean here, convict? Convict means, so this is the person who committed a crime and he was judged, okay, to be in the prison or judged to be executed after that, okay? So, the convicts and the criminal lawyer judges, okay, from the handcuffs Joe's men at the smithy to the gallows at the prison in London. Okay, so of course we will present all these words and the events in the novel. So, but we have here crime, guilt, and innocence. Before we said social class, and after that the self-improvement. So, in Great Expectations, Pip becomes obsessed with the desire to be sophisticated. Okay? So, here we have another theme, that sophistication. And sophistication means what? To have experience to deal with life after a past experiences or events happened in your life. So, do you think that you now is the same as you in the past? Of course not. Now you are mature enough than before. Okay? You were exposed to a lot of experiences that give you a lot of values, a lot of new attitudes to deal with life. So sophistication here means what? To be mature to know the life. So in Great Expectations, Pip becomes obsessed with a desire to be sophisticated and takes damaging risks in order to do so. What here risk? Risk to be a gentleman. Is it a risk in our life to be a gentleman? Of course, yes. Because if you gain something, of course, on the other hand, you will lose something. Okay? So this is a very important principle of life. So, after his first encounter with Estla here, his beloved girl, okay, Pip becomes actually self-conscious that, and he said, I was a common laboring boy. After he met Estla, we will discuss that he started to feel that really he was a laboring boy. Laboring boy here, it means that worker, okay? He is not eligible enough, he is not suitable enough to have the emotions or the feelings of Estla. Okay, so he called himself what? A laboring boy. That my hands were coarse, very tough. Okay, that my boots were thick. Okay, this is not the proper person for Estla to love. So, from this point, Pip decided to be a gentleman. Okay, yes. So, here we have some of the quotes of some critics. You know, critics, of course, this is the people who criticize novels, movies, and so on. So we have here E.M. Forster. He said about Dickens in general and Great Expectations characters. He said nearby, every one of Dickens' characters can be summed up. Okay, summed up means here what? To be recalled, okay? Or to be brief, summed up in a sentence. So, in a sentence, okay, Dickens had the ability to describe his characters in just a sentence, okay? What does it mean? It means that Dickens had the ability to what? To choose his what? His words to be brief. In a sentence, you can understand, okay, what the character is. So, here, and yet there is this wonderful feeling of human depth. Okay? Human depth means that I want to look into the inner feelings of the character to understand it. Because if I understand the inner feelings of any character, of course I will understand his attitudes, and of course I will understand his actions. Okay? So this is a very quick review about the themes and the Charles Dickens. Now, what about the characters? Okay? So, let's start. These are the characters of, or the main characters of Great Expectations. Okay? Let's start with, first, we have Pip. Pip, an orphan boy, young boy, who lived with his sister. Okay? Orphan means that he had lost his what? His parents. So this is Pip when he was young, and this is Pip when he was a young man, not a young boy, of course. After that, we have Joe Gargery. Okay? He was Pip's brother-in-law, the husband of his what? Of Pip's sister. After that, we have Mrs. Joe. Of course, this Pip's sister and Joe's wife. Okay? So after that we have Biddy. And Biddy was a young girl who served Mrs. Joe. Okay? After that, Mr. Pumpkinchook. So he was a seeds man and he was Joe's uncle. Okay? Mr. Pumpkinchook represents the middle class. Okay? So after that we have Mr. Wopsle. And Mr. Wopsle, he was a clerk at the Pips Village Church. You know, church, of course. Okay? So, after that, we have Miss Havisham, so represented, of course, the high class. And Miss Havisham was a very strange character, really. A person, an old lady who never got married. She never got married because of a very harsh experience in her life, and we will recognize that. So after that we have Esther. She was a young girl who was adopted by Miss Havisham. And Esther here, one of the important characters, of course. Of course, in the novel and also for Pip. So after that we have Mr. Jaggers. Mr. Jaggers was a famous lawyer, but Pip will meet him, inshallah, in England. So after that we have Mr. Wemmick, and Mr. Wemmick was the assistant of Mr. Jaggers. So after that we have Herbert Bucket. So Herbert Bucket was a very close friend to Pip in England. Magwitch, so Magwitch was a convict. Okay, of course, he will meet Pip in the beginning of chapter 1. So we have Compeyson, so he was another convict. Okay, so we have also Drummle. Okay, so this is an unpleasant man who hated Pip, and really Pip hated him very much. So after that we have Startup, and Startup was a good friend to Pip, but also in London. And he was very different from Drummle. So Pip will love Startup very much, and he will hate Drummle very much also. Okay? So this is a quick review, a quick introduction of the novel, Great Expectations. Inshallah, we will meet with chapter 1 very soon. Thank you very much.